I mean, this is a topic about trust. So let's talk about trust first. Is understanding what guys tell you to do, you should follow it unconditionally. Despite, let's say, finances, despite what you may see in the present, if you truly love God and you want to have that strong relationship with God, then you will follow what he tells you to do, despite of what you're looking at right now in the moment.
Good afternoon, lovelies. This is Candace here again. Today is a special Sunday because it is the last episode of my series for Seed Movement, and I'm so happy. Pat on the back for me. It's going to be a lituation. So for this episode, what I'm doing is I have guests here, and we're going to talk about something very important, which is trust. And I picked this as a topic just because at the end of the day, we all got trust issues. So this is going to be a fun episode, and I hope you guys enjoy.
I love God because of his unforgiving and unfailing love that he has for us. No matter what we do, whatever sins or whatever mistakes we may make, he still loves us despite all of that.
I do. I love God. Like, he's the center of my life. I'm giving the textbook answer. He's the center of my life, the Lord of my life.
Why? Because there's been many moments where I felt I didn't, and he showed up anyway. And it's one of those, I can depend on somebody and then not even be aware even when I'm not in the way.
Absolutely, 100%. I do love God. Reason why is because, you know, he didn't have to. I live my life off the principle of God literally doesn't have to do things that he does for me, but he does. And only a person who loves somebody else would do the things that he does. So I absolutely do believe that he loves me, and that's the reason why I love him.
I do trust God. The reason why I trust God is because he gives us, or gave me, every reason to trust him. You know, through all the sacrifices I've done, all the things that I experienced, all the things that I went through, he consistently has been there and supported me, even times where I was worried or concerned about how the outcome may or might turn out to be. And he's always been there supporting me and allowing me to make mistakes and forgiving me. So I have every reason to trust him.
Walk it how you talk it. Yes. No, seriously, walk it how you talk it. Basically, just having that intimate relationship with him, where you're having faith in him, you're trusting him, you're trying to understand him, and things of that nature. So trust, love, having faith, and just like those three things.
It is to be honest, a love-dislike relationship. I love God. I know that I love God, but my imperfections and inability to always walk that straight and narrow path, at least in my opinion, what's the straight and narrow path, becomes a hindrance for me living my life for him in the way that I see it, you know? I guess if that makes sense. Like, there's an expectation of what I think God wants me to do as his child, and I sometimes feel like I don't meet that mark. So it kind of gives me like a love-dislike relationship, you know?
My biggest thing is trust. Like, this is a topic that I dealt with for most of my life, and I even have a tattoo about trust on my arm. But Trust is my number one thing. You know, you can't have a good relationship, a healthy relationship without trust. Like, it's just not gonna work. It's gonna fail.
Dynamics of a good relationship, speaking specifically about God, honestly this is the topic about trust. Let's talk about trust first. Is understanding what guys tell you to do, you should follow it unconditionally. Despite, let's say, finances, despite what you may see in the present, if you truly love God and you want to have that strong relationship with God, then you will follow what he tells you to do, despite of what you're looking at right now in the moment.
I do, because sometimes it's hard to, when I feel I'm doing the right thing and I feel things should be going a certain way, and it's like I'm following the life I should be living, and then something dramatic happens that kind of throws everything I've been doing in the right way, throws me completely off course. And then it's like you always sit there and ask the question, why? Like, everything I've been doing right, why is this happening now? Like, somebody you're close to passes away that's been holding you down pretty much for a while, and then they're gone, and it's like, why is this happening? And it'd be a crazy accident. It could be somebody suddenly dying for no reason. And it's like, when these kind of crazy events happen, it's like, it makes you question everything. It makes you question what you're doing. Maybe you did something wrong that made this event happen, or why is this happening? Maybe it's some reason that maybe I just don't understand. So not that unknown factor of the situation is what makes me doubt.
I have legitimate trust issues, bro. Like, legit trust issues, just because of life. Again, life. Like Toya said, just all the things that happen to you, and you're like, you're just always on the rocks about, just going back and forth. It's like a teeter-totter type of thing, where it's like, I want to trust, but I don't want to trust all the way, and then it doesn't come out the way that I expect it to come out. So, and I also have a thing where I always feel like people are against me. That's another big flaw that I have, but I just feel like it's so hard to trust him just because of my own human flesh. Trusting
God is not about you. That's I think the biggest misconception that we have as like Christians, as people, is thinking that, I want to trust God because what God is going to do for me. Trusting God is understanding that what he has for you is greater than you and affects the people that comes after you, the other generations. So finding difficulties in trusting God is the fact that, God, I have bills, I have things I have to do right now, and God is saying, forget about that. It's bigger than just you. So we as we live and grow in this world, thinking about what we need from this world, God is trying to make us understand that there's something greater and bigger than what you have. Yeah, just who I am as a person and the things that I've gone through. And but the one thing I will say is that these past years in my life, I've learned that once I put all those things to the side and actually practice trusting him, my life did a complete 360.
Because I don't trust life. Like, it's not really God, because God is perfect. It's life. Imagine how hard it is to hear God tell you in a dream, or I honestly believe that God speaks to me prophetically through dreams or through my prayer, and he'll say everything is going to be all right, and then you lose your job the next day, you get into a car accident after that, everything that could go wrong in your life goes wrong, and God is now saying, hey, trust me, everything's going to be all right. Your natural human instinct is to believe that everything is not going to be all right. So it's hard to trust him through the trials of life. But I guess the key is to trust him. Trust that his word is what it is, that it is going to be all right.
So if my spouse or best friend told me they love me and they don't trust me, I think that I'll be like Houseway. I don't see how that goes together. Like,
initial feelings hurt, and then I'm always curious as to why things happen, and I don't want to immediately start blaming myself, because that doesn't get any progress in the sense of understanding their pain or even healing them in that sense, instead of just kind of wearing the pain or the weight for myself. And it's like, I want to investigate as to, like, what did I do? Maybe something I did, and maybe something I did subconsciously or I wasn't just aware of, that made them feel that way. and is trying to figure out. But it would really be a lot of hurt, because it's like, and usually for somebody that close to me, it would not my intention to hurt them. And for them to feel that way and to say that, it's like they do go kind of hand in hand. It's like you have to be able to build that trust to be able to love somebody.
So funny enough, somebody actually told me this. Somebody said, "I love you, but I don't trust you," and it was a while back. I was pretty young. I was probably like 18, and it took me back for a moment, and I had to actually take myself out of it, understand what exactly is she saying, and I had to realize that I somewhat actually agree with that. Reason being that why I agree that I love you but don't trust you in a way is that what exactly is trust? When we say trust, is I rely on you. It's something that I'm unconditionally, I'm not dependent, but I value enough, and that whatever you do or I ask you to do something, that you're gonna do it. How many times do we really have like our friends and our spouses, do you really can say, yo, I unconditionally can rely on you, but yet you still say I love them? So then we talk about what's the word about love is, what exactly is love to us? Are you just loving the things about somebody? Are you just loving what somebody's offering you? And how can you relate that into trust? So understanding that this difference, in my opinion, between love and trust.
I would be hurt. I would feel that there's somehow something that I did that took their trust, from me. Like it must have been my fault somehow. Like I would feel that maybe I have to earn it, that there's something I have to do. I would feel that maybe they can't love me, because I think love and trust go together. And I see how, God may feel on my end, but I would question the depth of their love. I would question everything about their love and how unconditional it is if they couldn't trust me.
Bye. I'm out. Like, I can't be with a person, or I can't do things and elevate with a person who doesn't trust me. You can love me all you want, but if you can't trust me and you don't trust that I have our best interest at heart and your best interest at heart, then we can't. So I kind of, again, put that in my relationship with God. I don't want God to ever tell me bye, ever. Like, I don't want that to ever happen. So I practice trusting him. I practice trusting him, because I don't ever want to be without God. I don't ever want to be in that position where, it's 50-50 and God is side-eyeing me. Like, can he trust me with his plans? Can he trust me with his this great responsibility that he's placed on my life? I don't want to ever have to be in a position where somebody's questioning me. So
there's no way that you can love me and then not trust me. Like, I feel like when it comes to love, like, all those categories go together. Like, you're not supposed to envy that person, you're not supposed to be jealous of that person, you're supposed to trust that person. Like, there's so much that goes with love. I don't understand how you can love me and not trust me. I just feel like it's an imbalance. Or maybe you just don't understand what love is. Like, a lot of people have this warped version of what love is, like love of money, love of lust, love of things. They have this warped version of love and don't really understand what love is. So to say that, you don't trust me and you love me, that's why I pause. I don't get it.
It's one of those things of like, do you really love me kind of feeling. And it's, human beings, we are flawed by nature, and it's just how we operate. We're not always going to be perfect in a sense, but we always should be striving towards it. And I understand for would say from his point of view as to why he would feel that way. It's like, do you really love me, or is this you're just saying it just to say it, or are you actually living that by proof? And it's something I have to be considerate of, or constantly remind myself of, to express that in a sense of whether it be gratitude or what is happening around me.
All right, how can I say I love God but still find it hard to trust him? I can explain that, but kind of like reversing roles and saying that God loves us, but can he really trust us? What I mean by that is, in the Bible, it's unconditionally that God loves each one of us. All of us, despite our flaws, despite what we go through, despite what we do, he still loves us unconditionally. but there still need to be a method in which God can trust us with his principles, with his works and everything. And I kind of go back to Adam and Eve as an example. I heard Ty Tribbett say one time about the story of Adam and Eve and the apple tree being inside of the garden. Like, God, if you don't want me to eat from the apple, why put it there in the first place? And what Ty was saying is that when you place the apple tree, God needed a way where he can trust us. He loves us, and Adam loved God unconditionally, but now I need to make it work that I can trust you with stuff. So I look into that, like a lot of things that God placed in our lives and obstacles that he may place in our lives is that I need to see if, God speaking, if I can trust you.
God would not think that I loved him as I say I do, if that was the case. Secondly, I also think that, and I believe the word says that, his ways are not our ways and his thoughts are not our thoughts, and that the way that I see my partner or somebody who was close to me not trusting me, in turn them not being able to love me, I don't necessarily think that God will think that I don't love him because I cannot necessarily trust him. However, God would know that it's going to be impossible for me to fulfill every assignment of my life, for me to live a fulfilling life if I don't trust him. Trusting God is not for God. Trusting God is for me. So if I'm not trusting God, how can I meet the call that he's placed on my life? How can I properly walk uprightly? How can I do all the things that loving and trusting him empowers me to do if I don't have that trust? So it's really hurting me, not so much God, because he doesn't think the way I think. He doesn't need my trust for him to be God, but I need to trust him if I'm going to be empowered through God to live my life,
So basically, in conclusion, we have to trust that God is going to do the things that he said he's going to do. If God said, I'm going to do it, he's going to do it. He said what he said, and we just need to leave it as that. Don't try to do things like, from your own strength and say, okay, I'm gonna save this money because I never know. I don't trust nobody. I'm gonna save this money. I don't know if I'm gonna be broke, or I'm not gonna eat this food. I'm gonna save this because I don't know if I'm gonna be hungry again. Trust that God is going to always be your provider. So, with all that said, I'm so happy that this is the ending of my first project for Scene Movement, and I appreciate everybody who has participated. Shout out to Misfits Arise. Make sure you follow that page on Instagram and Facebook, and just shout out to everybody who supported me throughout this whole series, and I will see you on my next project.